Welcome. Today we're going to be looking at working with animal totems. The reason we are going to do this today is because a lot of people on the spiritual path do have contact with animals. Animals represent the lower aspect or the core or the root aspects of the planet. They are definitely transmitters of energy. They are supporters of the growth of the planet, and they are transmitters or channels of information that comes from the planet. But the animals are asleep. They're not aware of themselves. The reason they appear that they're becoming more aware, in a way, sometimes they have proven that animals are quite aware of themselves by showing animals in the mirrors, or we have the animal communicator who does transmit knowledge and information through the animal. All of these still have to do with the fact that animals translate these lower impulses from the planet and translate them into information. A lot of the information is personal. So for example, if you are working with an animal one-on-one or have attracted an animal into your dream, then you're responsible for looking deeper into what that animal symbolizes or what it represents. There are ways to go into the world below or into portals to find animals to work with. You could possibly contact the animal yourself if you happen to be attracted to it, but generally animals, even if you try to hunt them and they aren't really an animal that works with you or your soul, it will probably not respond to it. But generally people are attracted to animals or go with animals or find information on them because of the fact that they are in some way attracted to them, or they love them, or they have a pull towards them. Animals possess two polarities, just like everything else on the planet. The whole universe, right now, as we know it, has polarities. Animals do as well. They have the good and the bad side to them. It doesn't mean just because you work with an animal that it has a good side. It depends on where your stance is and depends on what kind of work you're doing. Sometimes animals support us and sometimes they do not. It depends. It could be a contrary animal that's here to wreak havoc. You really don't know. And the only way to do that is to go into yourself and to introspect over why the animal might be present in your reality at the time. I have worked with many animals. I continue to do so. Came originally not because I bid them to, but they just came naturally, especially considering the intense work that I do with the planet. And really my own transformation is that of the planets anyway, and you could see that for yourself as well. The work that you do on yourself represents or mirrors back the planetary ascension. So although a lot of people do work with animals, there's a lot of trainers and lots of people interested in them. There's nothing wrong with that, but there's always a reason behind it, and what is attracting you to work with that animal and what is not attracting you to work with it. Fear from the animal. I do not have any fear of any animals per se. I work with them if I need to. Often I have them as allies, and generally they will come to my rescue if needed. And this happens due to the fact that I have a very strong connection to my womb and the ability to dream from the womb. Because animals are associated with the lower chakras, obviously the womb is the best place for them to manifest and for them to appear also in dreaming, where they can impart knowledge or wisdom or anything to you. Sometimes you won't hear them what they're saying to you, but they definitely are there for a reason, and your soul will absorb any knowledge or information. Sometimes it will need to impart knowledge that you don't know, and so it depends on what totem you are working with at the time and what has chosen you. Animals are quite independent, as you know, but they have the ability to attach to you. They reflect your desires or your needs or something that is not fulfilled in your life that you're attracting. Cats and dogs have other multidimensional aspects that are humanoid have a huge investment on the planet here. And you can see them, that's why they're living with us in a different form on this planet. But they all have humanoid characteristics in other places because, as we know, everything is multidimensional. Everything has a lower and higher aspect and can exist simultaneously in different dimensions or other realities. So dogs and cats are quite involved in the human experience, and obviously so are birds, because they too are also quite involved. Animals are not meant to be approached in the wild and petted. If you're trying to connect with a lion, it would not be a good idea to approach a lion and start asking it for help on the spiritual path. It doesn't make any sense. The animal is unaware, and he resides as a lower aspect on the planet and will chomp you and eat you if you try to do it that way. Views of animals is not always regarded as a good idea on the spiritual path. There's no need for it at all. You could just easily go into your womb and into visualization or meditation with the animal. This is why they've been doing sweat lodges for thousands of years. You don't actually have to go and talk to the animal itself. You could, if it's an animal that's in the reality or that's not dangerous, it's not going to eat you. But there really isn't any need to work with animals that are dangerous, and there's absolutely no reason to disrespect them in such a way as to invade their space or their territory. I understand that people do things for research purposes. That's absolutely fine. And there's animal rescues. It's great. I quite enjoy them as well. To get information or to have them impart some sort of deeper knowledge does not require any kind of contact with the animal. You already have the power to do it yourself through your body, through your either meditation if you're a man, or through visualization, and through the womb if you are a woman. So the animals, you don't have to be living with foxes or cougars and things like that, where animals actually belong in the wild. When you have an animal that big present with you, around you, it will dominate you, because of the wild always dominates over the civilized, because it has no control. If you're living with 1,000 snakes in your house or whatever, that animal has already overtaken everything. This happens with many cats. So you don't need to go through all that hassle just to get power from the animal, or to be given part of its wisdom or understand how it works with you. It's part of being respectful and staying back and respecting the other animal's right without infringing on it. Like people doing shark feedings, this is a crime, because you are invading that shark space, and sharks are 6-dimensional beings who are extremely intuitive and can sense energy and feelings just like anything else. So really need to be very careful. So it depends on what animal you're working with. It's better to go through the dreams and find out. Sometimes they come to you unbidden. If animals or pictures of animals keep continuously coming up into your experience, you need to investigate it yourself and find out why that's happening, because that animal is chasing you for some reason, and it's trying to impart something to you. We all need to understand how animals appear in dreaming aren't always necessarily trying to give you information. It just depends. I'll give you some examples. Examples are the best way for me to work, because then at least you have a good strong base for what I'm talking about and something to compare. For example, if you have this black snake attacking you in a dream, it's not exactly imparting wisdom on you. It could be a woman in your life that's attacking you. So you need to kind of figure it out through what's happening in your everyday experience and compare it. If, for example, it's happened to me, you've had a 20-foot crocodile appear in your living room when you're sleeping. That was representing somebody who was in my experience at the time. So it doesn't necessarily mean it's there for wisdom or knowledge. You have to figure out how it works in your experience. But I've had loads and loads of dreams with animals, and as soon as they appear, they always have some sort of meaning. You just have to keep tracking those dreams, which is why what animals help you with. It's this exploration of the introspective part of you, the deeper sides of you. So at the very beginning of my journey, I did have a lot of snake dreams, but that's because of who I am and my connection to the planet. But funny enough, I loved doing vermicomposting. It's one of my beloved things that I love doing, which is composting with worms. I used to have worms. I used to actually have them so long and were so loving. I love them so much that I used to actually dream with them, and they would come into my dreams and tell me, hey, we're too hot, we're too dry. So they would actually communicate. It was amazing to have this communication with just soil and worms, which is the extent of amazement to me that I had that communication. Loved every minute of it. It could be a tiny animal or insect that you have a communication with. It's all quite amazing. It's so exciting that you don't even need to go to the movies. You are living an adventure, just having this, showdown with animals and coming into your dreams and inviting you into their world. And also you being open enough to understand how their world works as well. Animals are steeped in magic. All of them are. And and that's because the planet is magical and it's multidimensional. And we are part of this expansion. So working with animal medicine, very important for any path. And be aware and alert, because the animals are always there in support. When I was experiencing a death in my life, a living death, I did have a lot of animals come from like primal animals like gorillas, elephants, these kinds of animals that come from the deep parts of the earth. Like gorillas are connected deeply to the earth, the inner earth. So when I have all kinds of troubles, I always have loads and loads of animals coming to my rescue, but that's because of my deep connection to them and the energetic bond that we have formed over time through my womb. So there are many different ways to do visualizations, and there are ways that you can come into contact with these animals safely, and understanding how to get through portals and out of portals through your visualizations, and knowing that there is no imagination, it's all real. And what you hear back from the animal, whether it's in a dream or a visualization or through meditation, is something for you to consider, and something for you to consider seriously on your path to further growth. It is an exciting time to be alive, with all these amazing changes happening on the planet, and the animals are here to work with us and to help us expand and grow. Now, as the animals, because the planet is expanding, the animals are also evolving as well, like we are. And this is why you see sometimes amazing interactions happening between animals or humans, or between interspecies. This is the reason why. Do you want to mention a few other things important about animals? Energy never dies. So if an animal goes extinct, it never went extinct. I know it appears that way in this reality, but animals are energy, and energy never dies. It never gets destroyed. You can look that up in all your science journals. It never dies. It just transforms. Animals have the uncanny ability to shift through other realities. This is why we have new species coming, new species going, have the ability to shape-shift into other realities. And this is why it easily back and forth into different realities, because they are not steeped in belief systems like we are through our mind. So for them, it's easier to move the assemblage point and shift into any realities. So that's the first thing. So if animals go extinct, it's not due to the planets, us destroying the planet and things like that. It doesn't work like that. That's propaganda. And it's worse for the planet if you feel guilty about this. That's not what's happening. That's just the ego speaking, because the ego will say, I'm so important that I can actually make a whole species extinct. Now, this has been going on and on and on this planet for billions of years. Things are coming and going all the time, never anything to feel bad about. And the animals know what they're doing, and they evolve as well. They too, by the way, have lower and higher aspects of awareness as well within their species. So there could be a duck that has a bit more awareness than the other, or they're all very different, just like we are very different. Now, also, I know there's a controversy about consuming animals. When you consume an animal, you are consuming energy. Again, nothing dies. So just like you're consuming the animal, something else will be consuming you. It's part of the nature of this reality where things eat each other. Even plants and everything is eating and absorbing others' energies. It just depends on what you're absorbing and who you're allowing to prey on you. With the animal, so what we need to do is to be able to work with animals on the level that we understand. They are the needs and expressions of this planet. And what we do in the dreaming world, visualizations, and in our meditations is to be able to work with them for personal ascension and allow your own growth with the animals' growth to happen. Right now, I don't have very many animals visiting me much in the totem way anymore. I don't have them imparting the same knowledge because I've already reached a certain level where they don't need to be coming very much anymore. They've already supported my growth at the beginning. So, and now I understand their connection to me and how it really works. And also, if I do need them, I am able to summon the animals to come. A lot of my work, which includes sorcery, has nothing to do anymore with the 3D levels. I have advanced to the astral mostly, where I work with the animals there. I also work more with people there as well. It really, I've changed up the platform a lot. So our whole goal is to solidify ourselves in the fifth dimension, so that we are actually have a foothold in the dream world as we progressively leave 3D reality, which we are. So this is part of the idea of becoming more fluid, multidimensional, and perceiving animals as just energy, just like anything else. It's just a matter of perception. Your viewpoints matter in the way you see things on the planet. Things aren't what they seem. Things aren't always what you hear in the news. And you need to go and get some perspective behind it. Otherwise, a lot of people buy into it like sheep and don't understand the extent of the shift and how multidimensional it really is. Thank you for listening on Animal Totems.